Okay, guys, so I'm following up this video I just did, about the ratings, and that's how I started the video with, you know, uh, NXT and AEW collision, which, people always want to post videos about AEW and, the viewership. They always want us to decline in viewership. But when they beat NXT, zip it. We can't talk about it now. And, all the other companies they don't talk about, but somehow they constantly only want to talk when something look like it's not in the best favor of AEW. Okay, now I'm gonna pick up where I left off, and basically let me jump into saying, when I see companies that have TV deals, I see companies like now, like TNA is a bigger company than people realize in terms of like comparing it to the like NWA or something like that, or even MLW for that matter. But the difference, and this is what people got to understand, okay? The difference in TNA is ever since their inception, they've always been a struggling company. They've never been in a comfortable position to where people want to come to TNA. Like they just, okay, this is the place to be. People that came there wanted out of their contracts. They were unhappy in the WWE. All right, fuck it. I don't really want to go back and forth to Japan or keep going back and forth to Mexico to AAA or CMLL. So, hey, you know what? We already right here. TNA it is. Things of that nature. Then there's people that didn't go to TNA. Now, TNA has clearly taken the place of, they've embraced being not the top company. They've embraced just being a wrestling company that will take whatever scraps is given to them, because TNA does not feel like a confident company to me. They really don't feel premium. When I watch TNA, it just doesn't have the same feel, man. And I told you guys that WWE was after Joe Joyce and Joe Hendry. I told you guys. And believe me, whenever Joe Hendry's contract expires, unless they just gave him a bullshit deal, something like, believe me, he's going to leave TNA and go to WWE. He's a goofy. There's nothing, I don't even know what it is about Joe Hendry that people like. I don't see it. I don't understand what it is, but this generation is different. When like I said in the previous video, when you saw the Road Warriors, when you saw Doom, when you saw the Steiner brothers, when you saw Sting, when you saw Goldberg, there's wrestlers that you saw grown ass men. When you saw Medusa, there was different people that you saw and you said, hey, she's a bad Jacqueline, Jazz, China, like there was just, different people. Look, there's people that you saw, and as a kid, you're watching these grown adults. But as you got older, you saw the same thing, like, yeah, Jimmy Snuka, Haku, these people, you saw grown adults. Man, these wrestlers look like little kids. They act like little kids. They throw tantrums in the ring. They have the persona, the attitude, the swag of kids. Even though they're 30-something, 40-something years old, they just, Jay Uso's like 38 years old. All that yeet shitting and whatever. And all of the shit that I'm saying is because you see how they do these demographics, 18 to 49 and this, that. People that sit and watch this shit that used to love it, look at this shit and go, what the fuck is this? This is wrestling? It just feels so childish. So therefore, every brand should have their own identity and their own path and not follow what everybody else is doing. Once again, there's only one AEW. There's only one WWE. Okay? All of these other companies, let's just fall in line. I watch certain companies. There was this one British-based company I was watching, and I was entertained by the show. and I didn't save it into my YouTube. I cannot remember the fucking name of the company, but I'm like, damn, this was a good damn show. Okay, so I'm watching to check this one out, and I remember going to see if they had like their episodes updated, or was this just like highlights, or But bottom line, I said okay, and this is the thing: you have so many companies. You're not gonna get more than a handful of big name companies that's actually international and like big. You're not gonna get that because people don't view wrestling like it's something serious. It's just something to watch. That's how people look at it. It's a pastime thing. Let's just watch wrestling. There's nothing else on. That's how you have a lot of people. But then you have the diehards. You have the people that's really the backbone of this is your real fan base right here. So what happens is really simple, y'all. When you start watching just take for example, I've been watching this shit since I was a kid. Now take kids that don't watch wrestling. You gotta think. I see kids that don't even fucking play with toys and they don't even play with action figures or cars. They just don't. They're all about Snapchat and Instagram and TikTok. Or they don't even play with toys. I see kids that don't even play video games. And if you notice, the majority of the people that you see doing anything on TikTok is what? Grown-ups. The people that you see collecting action figures and collecting, it's grown-ups. It's not kids. So when I look at this stuff, I'm like, damn, what do kids actually like? So what is it that a person is watching your show for? For example, it's like I said, if somebody saw like Megan Bain and said, oh shit, who was that? Now, what if they said, I don't give a fuck about the show. I just want to see that big chick. So they watch the show just for Megan Bain, right? People, well, they're watching, yeah, but it's not long term if they don't care about wrestling. Now, it's possible they could watch Megan Bain, watch the whole show and go, damn, this shit was good. I like this. What is the AEW? Okay, whatever, right? But my point is you have too many casuals. They're not watching the show for the show. They're just watching other shit. People just get bored so fast now. And they're not into anything that they don't feel like they have the right to be the narrator of. They want to be able to tell you what you should have did and how you should have did it and whatever, because that's what everybody else is doing. Like reaction videos, right? Shit that we grew up on, you motherfuckers are doing reactions. Well, why they this? Why they that? Oh, this. And you're trying to judge shit based on what you motherfuckers are doing right now in 2025. Fuck you, man. It wasn't your generation. Common sense tells you it was something different in the 90s, wasn't it? So what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, they should have did. No, they should have did what the fuck they did. And if they didn't do that, your dumbass wouldn't be sitting here doing reaction videos to it. So it's like it's honestly like when you watch a movie, for example, and it's like, man, this is just so predictable. You like this, you seeing the same scripts over and over. For y'all don't know who I'm talking about, let's just say, for example, so this chick gets naked. It's a horror movie. They show her showering, her big tits are flopping all over the place, and she's shaking her blonde hair, and all of a sudden, while she's about to get dressed, she hear a rustle in the bushes. What does she do? Look, walk to the window. Who's there? Johnny, is that you? It's not funny, asshole. Then what does she do? Throw a fucking robe on, and for whatever reason, walk like 3 fucking miles into the woods. Johnny, knock it off, Johnny. Johnny, it's not funny anymore. You know that bitch is gonna die. Okay, so what I'm saying, right? After you've seen something a million fucking times, it's no longer intriguing because it's like, they're not even trying anymore, right? This is what I'm talking about. So when you see movies like that, you have people that say, I just love horror movies, so I'll watch anyway. And you have people that are going, this is bullshit. So I like horror movies, but not those type of horror movies because it's too predictable. So you're not going to have everybody see it the same way. You have people that, like, I don't like to have a movie, like, say, Final Destination. I have all 5 of them. I have all the Jason movies, all the Freddy Kruegers, all the Michael Myers. I don't like to have all the Leatherfaces. I don't like to have just a few of them. Then you have people that go, I like the first Final Destination. I ain't like the rest of them. Oh, I like the third one, but I don't like the rest of them. I got all of them. That's me. Okay, that's me. And I liked all of them. But people are just so picky about shit, right? But what I'm saying is, when a movie is well done, when something is done differently, like I haven't seen the movie Sinners yet, but I'm hearing that it's different. People saying, I never seen anything like that. I have to see it for myself. I don't know, because I remember, like, for example, when Nicki Minaj first came out and people was going, yo, I never heard bars like that. Yo, she's dead. I'm like, bro, like that shit, she like, rah, rah, like a done ginger. I'm like, that's Busta Rhymes shit. What the fuck are you talking about? But I never, right, then that's the correct thing. And that's the most honest thing you said, that you said the whole fucking time, is you never heard it. You know, they recycle shit. They take songs, old ass songs, and remix them. Yo, that's fire. Yo, that beat. Yo, I never heard nothing like. Bro, that's an old Michael Jackson song. I never heard that. Once again, you never heard it. So I don't know. And like I said, when I go watch the movie Sinners, I'm not watching it like, let me see what this bullshit is, or trying to. No, I'm watching it. Okay, let's see what they got. Right? DC fans will bitch because Marvel keep making movies and DC keep scrounging and having a hard time making anything. And then, oh man, I don't think it's going to be this. I don't think it's going to be that. Somebody actually made a comment and said, I don't like the way the thing look in the new Fantastic Four, right? And I said, you don't read comics or never did, right? Motherfucker said, oh yeah, hell yeah, I fuck with comics, yeah. I said, you fuck with Marvel shit? Oh hell yeah, yeah. I said, okay, so you ever seen Ben in the Fantastic Four in the comics? Yeah, yeah. So why the fuck you say you don't like the way he look now? He look now just like he look in the fucking comics. If you look at every Ben prior, this one they got right in terms of the look of how he looks in it, you know. Okay, like Wolverine, for example. We never seen Wolverine in comic books, and when I was a kid, with no fucking t-shirt on and no fucking blue jeans and boot. No, he always had the yellow and blue suit or the yellow and black suit on with the, right? And then they finally gave him that look in Wolverine and Deadpool movie. Other than that, it was a different look. So you understand what I'm saying? It's a difference when you just don't like something because I like this better. I'm not right, but for something to just be bad, like I love the Marvel movies. And the thing about it, like Professor Hulk, yeah, they made him funny. But I'm like, yo, I don't want funny Hulk. I want Hulk smash, real Hulk. Okay, the very first Hulk movie that you saw was the most accurate Hulk. The madder he get, the stronger he get. Right? The stronger he get, the madder he get, the bigger he gets. Right? He can run 300 miles per hour. All this other shit. He can see ghosts. He can, all these things that people don't even know that the Hulk can do. But you saw all of that. Now, the best movie to me, and the best way that Hulk was used was in the second one. That Hulk, that's who we wanted to see fight Thanos. Not this big, for whatever reason, he can't beat. I mean, they watered him down. This is what I'm talking about. It's like, let's take all masculinity out of motherfucking masculine characters or people and make them weak. Let's make the bad guys. It's like it's deliberate, man. It's like let's make the strongest fucking character a female. Let's do shit that, I mean, it's just like, okay, cool, whatever, man. When you look at who's who in professional wrestling right now, and you say shit like, say a person gets released from the WWE and they go to AEW, oh, they're not going to use them right. Before they even get there, you're already building negativity of what's going to happen and telling yourself you don't want to watch, right? We don't give a shit. Why do you feel the need to have to make it known? Then that wrestler goes to that company. You're fucking claiming, oh, that's my favorite wrestler, but I don't watch because I'm pro WWE. You are a dumbass. The WWE, okay, I'm not pro AEW. I'm not pro TNA. I just love watching AEW. I like the shows. The genre of professional wrestling itself can be fun when it's done right. I don't watch just AEW. They just happen to be the company I like more than any other company that's out there. I liked TNA a whole lot at one point, but TNA just got to that point, man, where it's like they just fell off and they lost who they were, and they just became a bunch of flunkies, man. There's no way Scott D'Amore would be okay with taking a back seat to, okay, so you want my champion, you want Joe Hendry, my champion, to go and get beaten like 5 minutes by Randy Orton. A guy who's not even champion, but bottom line, let's make my champion look weak. But let's just say, hey man, I'm just happy to be here. We were on a WWE WrestleMania stage. Then on top of that, he's gonna help him up, raise his arm like he's a little baby, like. I mean, he does all of this shit, and then Joe Hendry goes back. This is your fucking champion. Once again, they're resting against developmental. You don't see nobody from the SmackDown or Raw roster on a TNA program. Just like I told you, you wouldn't see Jordynne Grace be anybody significant to do anything real until she becomes a part of the WWE roster. As long as she's on a part of TNA, yeah, you'll see her wrestle some fucking nobodies from NXT. That's about it. Some up and coming motherfuckers. That's about it. Right now, if you ask anybody, how do you see, what's her name? The little short motherfucker that was the TNA, the NXT Women's Champion. Y'all know what I'm talking about. She came out just the other day and attacked her. She's fought Rhea Ripley. I forget her goddamn name. And Julia come out. And they would jump into both of them and shit, whatever. Okay, but what I'm saying, you ask any of them, where do you place her on SmackDown or Raw in the women's division? She's not ready yet. Right, when she beat Jordynne Grace. Yeah, the women's NXT champion. I mean, TNA champion, women's champion, right? The Knockouts champion. Do you guys not understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So all of this going back and forth on TV, to invading each other's show. Like I said, nobody from TNA is invading SmackDown or Raw. Nobody from Raw or SmackDown is invading TNA. Just NXT. And you guys don't understand. That's a know your role and shut your mouth move. That's what that is. And TNA is, yes, sir, whatever you say, they're playing the slave role. I don't give a fuck what you guys say. They are looking like a bunch of amateurs, man. And pretty much, they have no leverage. And the fact that their show drew 600 and something. So here's my thing. Peak NXT numbers were much higher without the involvement of TNA. So what is all of this back and forth doing? What is it? And I'm guaranteeing you, a lot of people don't understand this, but a lot of hardcore TNA fans are going, what the fuck is happening? And they're like, I can't even get into this shit. I'm one of them. I'll sit there and watch. Like when I go home tonight, I'm gonna try to see if I can watch the replay of Rebellion, to try to just sit and watch it. I honestly couldn't stomach it. I was watching it, and it wasn't intriguing. Nothing was happening. It just felt like another episode of TNA Impact. And then TNA Impact don't have any real concept matches. They don't switch the rings up. It's the same fucking ring all the time. For Rebellion, they had the ropes red and black or whatever. But they don't do anything to really make the product stand out. And so my whole thing with that is, you just have straight up wrestling matches. You have your little tag matches, your 3-way, 4-way, whatever. Where are the cage matches at, man? Where are you going to do something different? Except tying some fucking ropes over the fucking ring, having people crawling across that shit for a big red X. I mean, they don't have shit going on in their company. What happened to Lethal Lockdown? They don't do none of this shit anymore. TNA, like I said, has lost their heart and soul. They've lost their fucking identity. NXT is doing nothing on their own. The same shit, back and forth with TNA. See, but the difference is this. Even for them to draw 600-something thousand, TNA can't even come close to that. So all you're basically doing is just going back and forth, back and forth. And what happens is, when these wrestlers' contracts are up and whoever the WWE feel they want to steal from TNA, that's exactly what they're going to do. And when they come, guess what? They won't be new to the crowd anymore. So it'll be easier to build these guys already. You guys got to think, man. And really, with all of these ratings talk, my thing is, it's not about wanting to see a company fail for me. It's just, like I said, I'm going to bring the truth out because you guys love to be so fucking one-sided and want to just talk like one company is just kicking ass and doing so much and the other isn't, because you purposely want to overlook their accomplishments. But I'll tell you what, one thing's for sure. If we are going to be honest, if we're going to really sit up and play the role of pause. If we're really going to play that role of, oh, we're just going to give wrestling news, but we're only going to talk about one company, and we're not going to fucking be honest about what we're saying. There's nothing to really talk about at that point then. But this is what people choose to do. So when I bring things to your attention, and see, I can pull up receipts. Other people just say things. They make claims. So when I say, so how come you don't do rating systems for everybody? Why you don't talk about TNA's ratings? Why you don't talk about MLW's ratings? In fact, why you don't talk about NXT's declining ratings? Why you don't talk about Monday Night Raw's declining ratings? Or SmackDown's? Why don't you? See, this is where people don't understand. If you're going to be biased, and especially you motherfuckers walk around calling yourself journalists, there's no fucking journalist, no fucking wrestling journalist. All it is a bunch of fucking people. Say it like it is. It's just a bunch of people that do wrestling videos, and you're biased as fuck, and you don't want to admit it. But as long as you have, people that just accept whatever you say, just like WWE fans are known to do, yeah, they sit and tell you what you want to hear, and then you go run with these stories. But the truth is really simple. Like I said, we speak and we bring things, to the light because we want to see better results. But at the same fucking time, you guys are really just on some I'm pro WWE. You sound stupid, especially when you're not making any fucking money off the WWE. So what do you gain by being biased? As it is, for those ratings to be what they are, for people to not really be into this product like they used to, and you sitting up here making excuses for them, that doesn't change anything. And also what you got to also look at is when we're talking about storylines, when we're talking about wrestler ability, we talk like the same way how WWE fans are sitting there cheering, this is awesome. Yeah, they do the same thing in AEW. They come out and support AEW. AEW is they're doing some really great things now, man. And so bottom line, in wrestling, there's always going to be high points and low points. How much experience you gain and how to deal with these situations, the talent you have on your roster, the positions you in at certain times when things happen, all of that is a factor. But when you're just like getting bad stories, when you're just egotistical as hell and you feel like you don't need to show your face and go out there and you talk about give back, man, and you can't even fucking get in your private jet and fly out to be a part of the biggest show of the year. You're so worried about what celebrities is there and wanting to brag about who came to sit in your audience, but you weren't even there. I mean, like, what kind of shit is that? Now, I look at what's happening, and I look at what's going on right now. Wow, this guy's on the motorcycle trying to fucking read text messages. Wow. So yeah, I'm looking at some things, like I did a short video about this past week's collision, and I'm that video might be uploaded already. I'm not sure, but bottom line is, I talked about some of the matches and things that I saw on there, and things that I like Bandito, for example. You see, like, I'll tell you something that AEW did that they kind of dropped the ball with, but they rebounded because he's getting some shine now. When Chris Jericho, who's the guy that beat him? It was on his debut. And he's a crew member now with I can't remember nobody's fucking name at times, like, really. The Crew, okay? What's the fucking two guys' name? Little motherfuckers with the afros and shit. Action Andretti. And what's the other dude's name? Leo Rush. Okay, so when Action Andretti first came, I think it was his very first match in AEW on Dynamite, he upset Chris Jericho. Now, if you notice, the very next week he kept coming out to like huge ovations, but then they didn't push him to where he had that staying power. Okay, I think they thought because he beat Chris, like, okay, it's automatic. No, it's not how it is. You beat Chris. So you beat Chris. That means you can't go and lose to mid-card guys. See, and that was kind of a downfall for Action Andretti. In that sense, as far as, because I watched them come out and the fans wasn't really as loud for them as they once was. Now, let's look at Bandito. See, they did it right with Bandito, because Bandito beat Chris, but he lost to him twice, but he beat him for the title, and now he's the Ring of Honor champion. Okay, if you look at Kevin Knight has gotten a good push. Now, he got pinned, but against who? The Bucks. Who did he team up with? He teamed up with, I forgot who he teamed up with, but they went against the Bucks. One of the best tag teams of all time, right? And they was back and forth, kick out after kick out. It was one of those type of matches. So it's not like he went in and got squashed or whatever, but this is what I'm saying. Once you put a person in a position where they're over with the crowd, you got to keep that ball rolling, because once they start having losing streaks before they even did anything, the fans will get away from them. And so, in other words, in terms of being a wrestling superstar, before they become a wrestling superstar, you can't have these guys losing matches like that, man. Like I said, you beat Moxley, then you go and lose, to some up and coming guy. It just kills the momentum, and it's like, why'd you even do that? So my thing is, when I'm watching, like, I watched AEW reinvent Tony Storm. I watched them reinvent Ricochet. Okay, John Moxley, you really can say he was reinvented, because look at him when he was last in WWE. This motherfucker went from wearing a fucking wife beater and some blue jeans and some fucking Clarks or whatever the fuck kind of boots he had on his feet, that wild ass hair. He looked like a crazy version of fucking Luke Duke and some shit. And then he went with the Shield shit, and the Shield got over as a group, and then he I think he came as the Shield or whatever, and he disappeared, and he came back with that wild Bo Duke look and shit. And then next thing I know, this dude was coming in looking like Bane with the mask on. He's afraid of germs. The stupid fucking things they were doing. Same John Moxley you see in AEW is not the same John Moxley you saw in the WWE. Mercedes Moné, look at what she's accomplishing. Look at Athena. Look at, like, all these great things that they've done. Look at Will Ospreay. Like, look at all of the characters that they've built, the characters that they, how they set things up, Takeshita, Okada. Like, I'm seeing some great wrestlers, and I'm seeing, like, great matches, and I'm seeing great scenarios going on. Adam Copeland, I'm waiting to see what he's going to do, because he's going to come back with the vengeance against FTR. Now, it's two of them and just him. So who's going to help him out, team up with him? Will it be somebody new? Will it be somebody that's already in AEW? I don't know, but that's a feud where definitely, he's not going to go out like that. They turn on this guy. Does he start a fashion? Adam Copeland. Do we see Adam Copeland heel turn? Not now, of course, but I mean, at some point, what I mean. Like, there's so many things right now I'm looking at in AEW. And it's a good feeling, man, to like look at where they are, and you got something to look forward to. Entertaining. Now, when I look at that, and then I look at the fact that you have people that do the stupidest thing, and that stupid thing that they do is, when you try to hold a standard for something based on one particular company, it's stupid, it's unfair, and it's disingenuous, but you hurt yourself, because fans are going to come. It's just the point of, when people look and say, it's like, for example, I made this comparison before. I like the PFL, I like one championship, and I like UFC, but I like one fighting championship more than both of them. And to be honest with you, because of the differences in how they put their product together, that's what makes it exciting. So I can watch either one and not feel like, when I watch PFL, I don't feel like I'm watching the UFC. When I watch the UFC, I don't feel like I'm watching the PFL. When I watch one fighting championship, I don't feel like I'm watching either one of those other companies. And that's how it's supposed to be. So when I watch these different shows, and I'm not watching them with the purpose of, I'm giving you ratings and I'm supporting your company. I'm watching what you are offering because I like what you're offering. Simple. I'm not sitting there going, I gotta help TNA AEW get to 1 million views. That's not that is not, my goal. That's not my focus. So when I'm seeing things like that and I hear people talking, I'm just like, why don't people learn how to just enjoy things but just be honest about how they see it? When I see some of these content creators cursing and swearing and throwing tantrums because they don't like an episode or something or whatever, you need therapy, man. Because this shit is really not that damn serious. I'm not going to go break my TV screen because I didn't like an episode of fucking AEW Dynamite. I'm not going to go and throw on some tirade and start fucking yelling and having a high-pitched voice because I'm pissed off at something I saw. Like, no. There's far too many things going on in the world that hurts us as a society, to where we need to be sitting here focusing on things that we're supposed to be able to enjoy, but we're going to focus on it to the point that we're just angry. I'm not angry about any of it. I remember there was a time when people were reporting that Kenny Omega and the Bucks were going to WWE. Man, I remember video after video after video, everybody talking about the dream matches that was going to happen and all that. And it's so funny how when the Bucks and Kenny Omega didn't go to WWE, the Bucks suck. Kenny Omega, he's overrated. I know. All because they all turned down to WWE. When Mercedes Moné chose AEW over WWE, the slave minds of these people, man, like they actually went into talking about she's not worth what she was asking for and she's over it. All of this shit. And I'm like, now what the fuck did Mercedes Moné do to any of you guys? And the fact that her and Naomi put their foot down about what, the way that the treatment they were getting in the WWE, who the fuck are you to sit up here and talk shit because you're a slave and they're not? Naomi went back. Mercedes didn't. Between the two, there's no comparison. Who's the bigger star? Who's more accomplished? So there's no comparison between the two of them. Naomi and Mercedes. So bottom line, maybe Naomi felt like she needed the WWE, but Mercedes didn't. And if it wasn't for AEW, like Chris Jericho even told us this story live. He was being interviewed on the stage, and he said that when he left the WWE, right? It is only after he left is when now all of a sudden the WWE had got to the point where they had to start paying people more money to get them because damn, now we have another multi-billionaire that can pay whatever the fuck we can pay. So these guys don't jump ship. What happens? What happens? So they don't jump ship. Let me pay this person whatever just to keep them there. Because just say, look, and Chris Jericho said people went from he said everybody, no matter who, if you were a big time player. So let's just say, in other words, if you're Charlotte Flair, if you're Mercedes Moné, who else was big? Becky Lynch, all of them, $1 million. Everybody, that's it. You're not getting more, right? They said now, as far as like bonuses, pay-per-view bonuses and things like that'll be something added. But he said, man, it went from that to people getting $50 million, 30, 40 million, whatever. He says, but it was because when he left WWE, it's like shit. WWE was so cocky, and they thought, they're not going to get enough people to be able to compete with us. They're not going to get the right people to be able to compete with us. And when Chris Jericho went there, okay, they got Chris, but guess what? We're going to take everybody else. Nope, that's not happening. What the fuck is going on now? Okay, well, you're offering me $3 million, and Tony Khan is offering me $7 million, so I decline. Once again, that's exactly why the WWE made that comment about, this is a bad thing that, AEW paying Mercedes Moné and Swerve so much money. Yeah, it's going to be bad for business. That's what they said. Why? Because these motherfuckers don't want to have to pay more money to the workers, to the people out there taking the bumps and getting injured. Yeah, they don't want to have to pay more money to them. That's why they said it was bad business. And that's what that is the stranglehold that the WWE had on the wrestling business forever. That other companies could not afford to pay these wrestlers what they could afford to pay them. And now, because of AEW, That's not so. So now if you say, you know what, we don't need you no more, Bianca. Okay, guess what? There's a such thing as AEW. Guess where I'm going? Oh, you know what? We don't need you no more, Braun Breaker. Okay, cool. Guess what? Hey, Tony, you got room for a Steiner brother? You understand what I'm saying? So now that they know that, that's why they always talk this shit about they're not worried about AEW. Yeah, they always the same. They said the same thing about WCW. They said the same thing about TNA. And you know what's funny? I can remember when WCW was kicking WWE's ass in the ratings every week, right? Vince McMahon did the most pussy move. He goes, well, I mean, they're beating us in the ratings, but they're not selling more merchandise. Fuck merchandise. We're not talking about merchandise. You know what we're talking about? The ratings. The one thing that you take pride in when the WWE is winning in the ratings battle. But when you're getting your ass kicked, oh, the ratings don't mean anything. Oh, it's about merchandise, but we're so we're excelling over them in other departments. Nobody gives a fuck about that. We weren't talking about how many shirts you sold. We're not talking about action figures and video games. We're talking simply about ratings. And this is exactly what these WWE fans love to do. Somebody on my TikTok had made a comment about, oh, the ratings don't mean anything. Why do people got to bring up the ratings? I said, do you have that same fucking energy when people bring up AEW's ratings? So shut the fuck up. Because at the end of the day, this is exactly what I'm talking about. That's because the decline of Raw's ratings. See, my whole thing is like I said, it's always an up and down period in wrestling. It's always like that. Like, so, you know what happens? What does everybody say? Right? What stigma have the WWE always had for years? After WrestleMania, it's like all of a sudden shit just slows down and the interest isn't there. They got to start to rebuild. This is why I said when you have a fucking pay-per-view every month, man, it's too much. Because you can't, the type of quality that you need to put into these stories, this is bullshit what they got going on right now. These are like I said, stuff that little kids could sit together and write. These storylines are not intriguing to me as a grown adult. And also, when I look at what's going on, like with these stories from Raw to SmackDown to NXT, there's no stories that's intriguing me right now. None. There's nothing that's really intriguing me. Nothing. No stories right now happening in the WWE has my attention to where I care. I want to see this. I'll say this. I don't see anything really good coming out of this whole Paul Heyman. You mean to tell me from the Bloodline, the Shield, when it was 3 of them, right? Blood, all these different fashions. You mean to tell me that Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and fucking Paul Heyman, they're about to take over Raw all of a sudden? Now it's like everybody gonna bow to these 3 motherfuckers? Like, nah, man, come on. Roman needed help. Roman needed fucking help. He didn't do it by himself. So you mean to tell me that? I mean, what are they gonna to keep trying to recreate a crew? And Paul Heyman somehow is always the guy involved. Aren't y'all tired of that shit? I mean, I know for me, I'm man, Seth Rollins just does nothing. I like Braun Breaker as a wrestler, man, but like, man, you're like hired help. You're the enforcer. I'm gonna make sure that Seth is safe and he can keep a title. And then people, well, yeah, eventually they'll break up, and then somebody will turn on somebody, and it'll whatever. I'm just not intrigued by anything that's going on right now. Io Sky and Rhea Ripley got beat up together. She came out and saved Rhea. It's looking like maybe they're gonna, end up on the same page and becoming cool or whatever. I don't know if this is just another way to give Io Sky more time to hold on to the belt. Hold the fuck on. Yeah, see? This is life. So it almost got ugly for this guy. Had to pause it. Had to pause the video. I had to pause the video. Motherfucker hit my car with his door accidentally. Did one of them glance out, and I put, hey, you ain't gonna fucking apologize, bro? You did, oh, sorry, man. Yeah. Look right in my fucking face. You know you hit my fucking car. I walked around, and he didn't scratch my paint or dent it, but he hit my shit hard. And gonna act like you know you too tough to, hey, my bad. So, the fuck was I saying? Anyways, I don't even know what the fuck I was saying. I don't. But that motherfucker wasn't gonna hit my fucking door. That y'all probably heard that shit, boom, and gonna act like he did, like as if it, like nah, fuck that, nah. But anyway, look, y'all. 3 times my video been interrupted. Well, all right. This is why when people say I hate dealing with people, I really understand what they mean, man. People are just so ignorant. But anyways, so listen, y'all. When we are giving you the news, let me speak for myself. When I'm giving you guys the news, you know, I'm gonna speak about what's really happening, what's going on, the way things are. I will show you things that other people won't show you purposely because, you know, they don't want to, you know, they talk all of this shit about one company, make excuses for another company, play dumb like they don't see what's happening with the very company that they're defending and being, you know, showing favoritism towards. But for me, I'll tell you what, you know, this is one of these situations for me where I just look at things like this. If we, okay, are going to speak about things, we don't always have the same opinions, and that's never ever my focus. Is I'm trying to have the same opinion as somebody else. You know, I see things for what they are. But what I'm saying is, for somebody to say to you, AEW's ratings dipped again. Now, how the fuck do I come and show you, yeah, so did NXT, so did Raw, so did SmackDown, and so brag about that too. But they were still higher than AEW's. Well, NXT's wasn't, but even for Raw or SmackDown's views to be higher, so what? They still dipped and took a big dip. So your point is what? Because what you're making it sound like is every single week, Raw get that 5.9. Every single week, SmackDown maintains, nope, the numbers are going up and down for every company. So it's like, let's speak some common sense to these people. But then too, let's show them. Let's show them. So there's no my word against somebody else's word. I'm showing you. And, you know, for me, like I said, once again, when I look at what's going on in AEW, yeah, I'm into what's going on there. And there's a lot of things that I want to see happening, a lot of things that they have coming up, and I'm into it. You know, and I'm always more into a wrestling company that has a nice balance with their stories versus just someone that's just, we're all about just this. You know, let's like those cinematic matches. I can't do it because, like I said, they'll copyright it. But if I sat down here and watched with you this cinematic match that they did with this Hardy compound the other week in TNA, you see what I'm talking about. Like, it's like they really didn't put any effort into trying to make it entertaining. If they thought that this, now let's say that they put effort, a lot of effort. Let's say that they really went out their way. If this is what they came up with, well, it is what they came up with. But what I'm saying, if that's the case, if this was real critical thinking on their behalf, man, they need somebody else to help them with their creativity, because it wasn't entertaining at all. And I really was just sitting there watching it like, wow. And like I told you, it made me go back and I started thinking about the ones they had before that. You know, they had two that was real interesting before that. The Steiner brothers was involved in one and everything. I mean, it was different. And, you know, like I said, we know that wrestling is not a real sport, man. We know it's fixed. We know that they choreograph. We know this shit. We know it. What I'm saying is it's not entertaining on the level that should be really entertaining for a grown adult. It's not. And it really even to watch this bullshit for what it is. I'm trying to understand like what happened to the creativity. I mean, this was complete garbage, man. I really just watched it and just said, damn, TNA, TNA, what happened? Like I told you, I could show you my old video collection. I still have to this very day. Like I was really like into TNA, but TNA has just gotten to that point. It's like, I wonder if they watch their old stuff. Because if you watch your old stuff, you can go back to things you was doing, but then look at things you're not doing, and then let's not be as good as we was before. Let's be better than we were before. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, how do you not see this? How do you as a company not think? I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if it's more than one person doing involved in the creative process and everybody's trying to get a hand in. Oh, I don't know what it is, but they just fell so flat, and like I said, MLW is a company too that they'll have moments as well. It's not so much a whole show though. It's just moments. But I just try to keep up with everything, and like I said, I don't want any company to resemble the other company, but your creativity going into these matches, like example. What's the beef between Becky Lynch and Bayley? Why are they having beef? For what? For what? Bayley's being used very like bullshit, in a bullshit way. Now, if anybody in WWE are diehard Bayley fans and they say, hey, I love Bayley, man, I think Bayley's this and Bayley's that. Okay, let's look at her career. And let's look at everybody else. Bianca, let's look at Becky, the Charlotte, everybody, right? That's been there with her. Are you telling me that Becky is being used in a good way? Now, if Becky leaves WWE and come to AEW, you know what the so-called Becky Lynch fans are going to say, and what the WWE fans are going to say? Fuck Becky. She wasn't shit anyway. Yeah, that's what you guys do. You throw people under the bus once they leave the WWE. But if they come back, yeah, we got Bayley. But this is what always happens. So when I'm listening to this, it's like, what's this feud about? What's these random feuds about? How do people lose titles and don't want their titles back? They just end up joining groups. What is this feud even about? Where's the build up to any of this shit? I just attacked you backstage, and basically, see, my thing is, if you really just care about somebody trying to cook on a damn microphone, and you don't really give a shit about the match, because, like, example, Rhea Ripley is terrible on that microphone. I love Rhea. She's terrible on that microphone. Roxanne Perez just sounds like a little spoiled, whiny little brat on the microphone. Okay? The match that she just had, the two of them is just a botch match. It was botches, right? Just botches. And one of the things that always stand out is, like, the WWE got all these little fucking midget ass women. It just looks so stupid when I see Rhea looking so fucking big. So she's so much big, like, and then she goes in there and struggle with these little tiny ass women. But then she'll riptide the fuck out of Nia Jax, or even a man for that matter. But then struggle to beat little fucking Roxanne Perez. See, what wrestling needs to get back to is the realism. That, you understand what I'm saying? It just doesn't look like something that should be taken serious. So that's why when I watch certain things and I look at, like, I was looking at Megan Bain, and I was watching, like, I watched Dynasty and Revolution back to back like so many times already, and I'm watching her and Toni Storm, and I'm watching how Toni Storm is adding different things to her game, and how she had to get more aggressive, and how she had to try to do things in a different way, right, to try to catch Megan Bain off guard. Now I'm catching all these different things in the match. Like I said, you're telling a story within the match itself, okay, even just the approach. But you notice, like I'm saying, how Megan Bain the way she rolled her up, it was like, oh shit. And she, okay, so she didn't beat her with her finisher or make her tap out. So Megan Bain still looking strong. And I love the fact that this is why you need jobbers in wrestling. People don't understand that. Because if Megan Bain is out there beating all the top women on the roster week after week after week, then they lose their shine. They look weak. But at the same time, right, to keep active and keep her busy and keep her in front of the camera and to keep her fresh, and so she's not there losing matches as well, just to have a balance, to have it, right? That's what you're supposed to do. You put jobbers in there every now and then. Yeah, that's what you do. And that's what they usually do. And they'll have, those jobbers will be from the town that they're in that day. So that's what you do. And people seem to forget that, man. They really do. So you have signature wins over top women, former champions, and then you have these wins over these jobbers and shit. Great. How do you, like, for example, right? When I was talking about Penta, and I told you guys before, I said Penta, the way he's being used, Penta is not taken serious. Now, if something happens down the line where all of a sudden they want to give him the same respect as a Rey Mysterio at some point, we'll see. But Penta, Rey Fenix, nope. I'm telling you guys, these luchadors do nothing except high-flying moves. Ooh, wow, holy shit, this is awesome. Yeah, that's what they do. And never become world champion. Never become world champion. There's never any real storyline behind them. It's always just some little petty shit, man. And it's always like a ring full of them when they fight, instead of, building these guys up. And that's why when it comes to certain wrestlers going to certain companies, you're gonna like, you're better off going to a company that's going to pretty much utilize you in a way where the focus is on you. And that's why I said when Bandito lost to Chris Jericho twice, now what's happening is the fans want to see him win. So when he finally beats Chris Jericho, it's like, okay, he beat Chris, right? He got his brother's mask back, and he also won the Ring of Honor Championship. So he beat a legend and getting that belt. And so not only that, but him being involved in the storyline like he was, the fans are more into him than they would be if he just came in the ring and did some high-flying moves and then just won the belt. And then, okay, you understand? It's less to remember because you see matches all the time. That's why if you're going to have storylines, make the storylines mean something. And that's why storylines don't have to be 6, 7, 8 months long. You don't need it's just not necessary, man. And just when you think a feud is over, it's like, no, it just keeps going on and on and on and on. And so, like looking at those things and looking at guys like, Powerhouse Hobbs, I was like, yo, finally, I know they said Hook had got injured or something like that. I don't know if it was a real injury or if it was change of plans. Let's think of something. Let's pull Hook for a minute. Because Hobbs needed something, man. Because he's a guy that's been there, another one that's been there from day one, and he's been, doing his thing. It's like, cool. So to see Hobbs, come in there and get some gold finally, and hey, man, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is what was necessary. And I remember even back with him and, what's the other guy that was there? Wardlow, going, had their little beef and everything. And I'm looking at Hobbs like, man, come on, man, do something with this dude, man. Don't fuck around and have, WWE, reach out to this guy when his contract is up and they take him over there and put him on NXT and do much of fucking nothing with him. And then you just lost another one. And you know what? I look at what's the guy? Ricky Starks. I was watching Ricky Starks before he came to AEW. And he was a guy I was hoping that they got. Warhorse was another guy that I was hoping that they had got. And Warhorse did wrestle on a couple episodes. Jeff Cobb was another guy that I was hoping that they got. And one of the things, man, like that, especially, definitely, all three of them, but definitely Warhorse and Jeff Cobb. But one of the things I noticed too, right, is like when I was watching Ricky Starks, he was a guy. I don't know what was going on backstage. I don't know. I'm not there, and that's I always tell people, we're not there, so we don't know what's going on, man. People speculate and make rumors up, and people run with it, but we don't know what was going on. But what I'm going to say about Starks was, the last angle I remember with him was him and Big Bill. I thought they had a good thing, and him whipping Ricky Steamboat. And after that, I don't know what happened. I know Stark started looking really skinny. I don't know if he had got injured or whatever, but I'm even in NXT, same thing. Because back when he was in NWA, he was, bulked up, but he got really skinny, man. And I'm watching him, and it's just like he did a little stupid pose, and I'm watching this motherfucker, and I'm like, see, it wasn't a gimmick thing with Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks was real intense when he was in NWA. That little stupid pose he does, he's always done that. But it's like, see, he's won a title over there in NXT. See him and Ethan Page and all or whatever. And it's like, I forget that Ethan Page is even there until I see his ass. Because they got him doing much of nothing. But Starks is over there. And I'm like, this is my point. If Ricky Starks was the superstar that they claimed, like all these, like, just think, ask yourself this, or ask these fucking YouTubers. You guys are sitting there talking about Tony Khan dropped the ball with this guy. He's a mega star. So why the fuck, if he's a mega star, is he on NXT and not SmackDown or Raw? Did Jade Cargill go to NXT, or did Jade Cargill go straight to SmackDown? Yeah, and debuted at the Royal Rumble. So if Ricky Starks is this big superstar that y'all are saying, then that means that the WWE is underutilizing him as well. Why did he not go straight to the main fucking roster? And why, with Ricky Starks as one of their champions, is their viewership lower than AEW's right now? So, see, this is what I'm saying. The bullshit psychology that they use, the lies that they tell you guys. Man, listen, Kyle Fletcher is everything Ricky Starks never became. Keep Kyle Fletcher, AEW. That motherfucker is what Ricky Starks could have been. That's how I was seeing Starks when he was over in NWA. And my thing was, not that I wanted to see them take him so much from NWA, is if he leaves NWA, I hope he comes to AEW, and that's what happened. Same with Camille. Wanted to see her. Like, if she leaves NWA, I want to see her come to AEW. I don't know what the story is with Camille. I don't. And I don't like to try to speculate, because I'll just be making shit up and I don't even know where to start. So there's no need for me to do that. But Kyle Fletcher, man, that dude, like, listen, fuck Ricky Starks. I'm saying, like, real shit. Kyle Fletcher has done more than Ricky Starks. He, like, look, let me tell you something, man. That just talking shit on the mic bullshit and little poses and that, see that little, that's the shit that people think all wrestlers should have, some type of little stupid gimmick or some little noise or sound. It's just something. It's always got it's something like, and it's nothing against Ricky Starks. What I'm saying is, Ricky Starks, I don't know what happened, but he doesn't have the same appeal. Or Matt, like, look, he just doesn't have the same appeal. He's not the same as he was in the NWA. I don't know what happened, man, but it's like that intensity he used to have, that character that he had that I had grown to know, like, I don't see that same Ricky Starks. And I was just like, I don't know what's going on, man. But that was the last time I saw him, and I thought him and Big Bill had something good together. But at the same time, I feel like Bill was going to turn on him because he was a real arrogant, like, jerk towards Big Bill. But, you know, like I said, he didn't go over there and go straight to the main roster. So how the fuck is this guy a mega star? Now, if you said you think maybe one day he will be a megastar, that would make more sense, because I've never seen a megastar that can't draw. So this is what I'm talking about. But people will tell you guys anything. But yeah, Kyle Fletcher, man, and one of the things I like too that Don Callis is doing is he always have somebody to come into his stable that keep the stable strong. Like I said, contracts come and go, people come and go. Do the contracts, wrestlers get injured. I haven't seen Brian Cage. I don't know what's going on with Brian Cage, but I haven't seen him. I don't know what's going on. But one of the things that I can say for sure, man, in wrestling, you never know who's going to stay, with what company, who's going to go. You just don't know. And once you start, like, thinking ahead. That's why it's like, let's just watch what they show us, enjoy it if we can. If we don't, whatever, but we like the brand, right? The genre. So this is why we tune in to watch to see what's going on. And after a while, sometimes with certain companies, it get to the point, certain times you just like, all right, you kind of find yourself not watching certain things anymore. Then one day you might get back into it. That happens at times, okay? But when I look at what AEW has in Kyle Fletcher, like I said, in my view, he is doing the things like he's that guy that you can see they're putting work into him, they're investing into him, and that's what I saw Ricky Starks. That's the way I saw him. Like being that guy that one day, man, he's going to be one of that main guy. They're pushing towards that. And not only that, you see Kyle Fletcher's like getting busy in the gym, building himself up, putting weight on, putting muscle on and shit and stuff. And Ricky Starks went backwards. And see, this is the point what I'm saying to you. People are more focused on a motherfucker sitting there doing some little stupid Ricky Ricardo pose as opposed to being able to go in that ring and actually fucking deliver. Getting on the microphone and just going back and forth, arguing with people and insulting people, as opposed to just, hey man, I'm the total package all around, and when I say something, I'm getting to something. I'm not talking just to talk. Oh, he cooked him. Yo, let him cook. Like, I get so sick of hearing that stupid fucking phrase. Like, man, listen, you guys, if you love professional wrestling, then you should understand what AEW is doing. If you're just all about the so-called sports entertainment and you don't really care about the wrestling, well, yeah. No, it's no wonder why you don't care about whatever WWE shoved down your throat, because it doesn't matter to you. And that's the whole difference in what we're talking about. So part of what I do is I point out that everything that you don't like doesn't mean it's not good. You just don't like it simply because it's not what you're used to, or what you've been programmed to think that this is what a wrestling company does. No, this is what a wrestling show is supposed to look like. No. And I feel like the fact that we were getting at times a fucking 2-hour show with 3 fucking matches. Are you shitting me? Minimum 4. Minimum should be 4. And pretty much that's what you mostly was getting. We pretty much mostly get with AEW is 5 matches pretty much. And 4 would be the minimum. Man, I mean, how do you fuck you have a 2-hour show and 3 fucking and the matches don't even be long. 2 quick ass matches, and then one might be 10-15 minutes, maybe like 10 minute mark or something. A bunch of commercials and ads and fucking just panning the crowd, showing celebrities. But where's the action at? So my thing is, when we talk about ratings plummeting, like, how do you fix that without changing your format and how you run your show? Just things to focus on and pay attention to, because it's true. It's reality. So I'll say this in closing. The next time you guys see a channel and that person is posting bullshit, that person is posting, oh, AEW viewership dipped to 600,000 something, why don't you go in that person's comment section and say, why you only do videos about, and pay attention first and see if they got the content, because I know 10 times out of 10 they don't. But just so you know that you're correct in your response to them, make sure. And when you see that they don't, respond with, why you only do AEW ratings? Why you don't do MLW, TNA? In fact, why do you only do AEW ratings when their ratings dip? Why, when their ratings are higher than NXT's, you don't do it? Why, when their ratings, bottom line, go up regardless, to even if you don't, not even aware of what NXT is doing? Why you don't do videos when the ratings are up? But bottom line, you call yourself a wrestling journalist. They're no journalists. Just because they sit there, their little fucking equipment that they bought from the TikTok shop, them big ass stupid microphones and that fake ass background sitting there in their fucking kitchen. Why the fuck? I don't need all that shit. And I got microphone, all that shit that had nothing to do, like, Ben had all that. Like, you understand what I'm saying? I don't need all that shit. I'm just giving you guys, what the fuck? I'm sitting here in my car. I don't need a microphone sticking in my face. I don't need none of that shit. But bottom line is, They want to look like they got some little fancy studio going on. And they sit there and talk all this shit about what's happening, and they got all the solutions for what TNA need to do and who needs to replace Tony, all of this shit. But these motherfuckers don't contribute nothing to wrestling other than just sucking off the WWE and pretending that everything that they do is perfect. Real simple, y'all. We are in a position, okay, to make change by putting out the truth. But the problem is, the truth is boring to most people. But people who like the truth, who respect the truth, they will like what you're doing. And pretty much, it'll show you, though, how many liars are in this world. It'll show you how many people don't care about what the truth is. And this is why most of what you see is always negative. And when people put something out like when I'm talking about how I like what AEW is doing. Why do WWE fans care when they claim they hate AEW and they don't watch it? You don't watch it, but you talk about what you saw every fucking week. So why you keep watching? Why are you torturing yourself? Right? Then they'll sit and talk about NXT this, NXT that, and TNXT bullshit that the combination of TNA and NXT. And I'm like, so if you guys love TNA so much, why are you not watching their program? All you watch is highlights, or watch whatever they put free on their YouTube. That's what you watch. You don't have Access TV. Their ratings are not up. Why are you not supporting their program? Just a bunch of talkers, y'all. But yeah, you saw the dip. You saw who had the higher ratings, and all of a sudden now everybody, shh. Don't listen to these lames. Judge things based on what off your own judgment, and don't let people steer you in the wrong direction, trying to make you talk down on something because they want to be biased, because that's all I'm seeing. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys now. Catch you guys on the next video.